But
Click it, right?
yeah, same band, same everything is bad.
Right. We're live. Okay.
Don't say any swear words.
Dang it.
There it is.
Dang it. I said dang it. That's
I
like
don't know
Man,
what
I
happened,
almost
but
said-
I
I
lost
almost
my
said
ears
something,
right
too.
when you said that anyway.
Disney movies.
Mhm.
Gentlemen,
What's
who's
up,
he
Ed?
talking to?
There it goes again.
What's up, Philly Ed?
Oh, I know what it is.
So, what's up,
Ken?
Charles? What are you doing?
What am I doing? I did a video on today on an AC/DC or 12-volt fridge. You know, one of the ones you put for when you guys the guys that overland and all that stuff use.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's actually a dual zone one. It'll do freezer and fridge at the same time, so it's pretty cool.
That's nice. I like
Dual
that.
zone, son.
I got it ready to go. I got it all ready to go.
You can keep
I mean, it won't
you
be a
keep
killer-
your meat
killer
frozen and
video.
your beer cold.
That's right.
Howdy,
What's up, Bob?
So other than
And you
that,
did one the other day on your new Spike.
oh yeah, the spike with the rib
Dingus
nut.
you
That
were
thing,
making.
that is so cool. The rib nut deal. And then when you get done with this thing, it's like tiny. I mean, it'll fit in a backpack easy. It's only like 10 inches long total. And
What kind of mast have you used that with?
that's for my little Carbon 6 or a POTA 20 or a POTA 30, whatever it is, 31, 32, 33. I don't remember what it is. I think it'll fit inside all of those.
Nice.
And I don't think any of my other it's too small for the big mast that I have.
Is that all? Did you? Is that glued PVC or did you? figure
No,
out
the
the
only
parts to
thing.
screw it together.
Let me show you. No, this is all you could. Well, I don't think the screw ones will fit, but this is just a cap, and I just pushed it on as far as I could. I don't care. This
Okay.
one I cut another little piece and put in there and super glue that. So when you do push this one down, you don't push it so far that you can't get it off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good safety
Because
tip.
now you can still get it off. But pretty
Important
good.
to get off.
Way better than doing this with. I did some threads for the same threads, and I printed them, and they tighten up like freaking pipe threads. They're not the. It's not the right threads that you get off those.
Have you field
things.
tested that yet,
the
or is
square
that just
slayer.
like a promotional demo we've seen?
I took it out and used it. Yeah, not.
Okay.
I hadn't used it on a call or anything on a actual
On a call?
activation or anything like that. But I took it out and tested it to make sure. I mean,
It
it's
holds
like
the mast
it's
up.
not. It's
That's
not.
kind of all it needs to do.
It holds the
Yeah.
mast up.
Okay.
And then if you're doing a dipole, you've got two guide lines with your wires, right?
Oh,
But then that red one that I showed you, the one I did earlier with the two spikes, that one's better. But in fact, it goes inside of that one, which is easier. This one you got to make sure you don't either you hold off everything in and put it over, or you just extend it first.
I like that because you could, like you were talking about in the video, you can put that in the backpack without tearing a hole in the bottom of your
I've got
backpack.
some really expensive backpacks like that weigh a pound, and there's
should
no
have some
way I
rip
want
stop
one
in
of
it,
those things
too.
going through it. It has
Even
rip
in that
stop.
protective case, it
doesn't have hole-
That
It doesn't have
Gigaparts
hole
backpack.
stop. Oh yeah, the stitching will be out of that thing.
Just
in a year.
joking, guys. Just joking.
Ape, what are you up to this week?
Pure misery.
Okay.
My
Pure
kid's about to move back home because of it. They're doing an internship.
Bless your
and
heart.
So the basement where I have all this stuff is like an apartment. Like it's got a couch and TV and bathroom and all that stuff. And so I'm getting kicked out of here, and I've got to go back to where I was a couple years ago in the upstairs room. And it's an ungodly amount of stuff to move, and there's all kinds of wires and cables and everything going everywhere. And so today was prep day, just starting to clean up the ham shack. I got rid of 5 lawn bags of stuff, and
How dare you?
Wow.
You could use that for an antenna project.
You'd save
well, here's the
that.
thing, man. It's
You
like
could have
5
built like
bags
20
going.
Ziggy projects with that, at least.
I know. And well, I sent him a few boxes of stuff, but the thing is that like the 5 bags gone, and you can't even tell. You know what I mean? It doesn't even look like any
Right.
real work has been done. Like, my God. So
I hear you.
That's why I sold my house, Ape, so the kids couldn't come back.
Right?
So they couldn't.
it's not
They can't
a
find
bad
you now.
idea. It's not a bad idea.
I mean, isn't that why you
He's-
sent
he's
sent
sticking
her
and
to
moving all
college
the
so
time.
she'd go away and not come back, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's subtle. You didn't tell her get out, but
Right, well, I was like, well, why can't you just stay in the upstairs room? But
well, that's a darn good point. How about you move your crap upstairs and I'm going to stay here?
right, because 2 years from now, I'll be like, all right, I'm moving back down into the basement.
Right.
see.
It's fun to move. You get everything
Yeah,
cleaned up,
Randall's
right?
talking about the batteries. I think there's 12
Oh boy.
right now, and so I got rid of a bunch of batteries too.
Son,
Like,
you're going to blow an O-ring.
right.
My neighbor, I was out of town for a few days, and my neighbor got the mail for me, and I was just like, "Hey,
Oh,
here's a
man.
100 amp hour battery for your RV. Forget my mail, thanks, bro." And he was obviously excited
Right.
about that, but I was just like, "Oh, I got
That's
rid
like
of
2 regular batteries he probably already had.
yeah." So
Tio,
but that's what I'm up to.
What are you up to this week?
Nothing ham radio related.
What? What?
He's getting
I
in
know,
my,
it's
my
weird.
range.
Yeah, I got a trail bike and I've been out riding through the desert today.
Nice.
Right. That was that one you showed the other day. That's what that
Yep.
mount's for on the front of the truck. Carry your
Yep.
bike.
Yep. So I'm
How'd
all
that work?
kinds of
How'd that mount
sore.
work? Was
worked
it
pretty
pretty
good.
stable?
It's a little scary. I've never had a motorcycle on the front of the truck before, so and it was dark for the very first time. Of course, you know how that always works. But we put the straps
So-
on, and I said that ain't going nowhere. So it was good.
So here's a
made-
couple things. Put some
Yeah.
kind of like straps around the wheels, just in case. The actual rims,
So when it
you know.
falls, it just drags under the front tires. Okay.
Well, hopefully it won't fall.
Well, you want to stop
get-
it from rocking, right? So the thing is that once that thing starts oscillating,
Well,
and reaches the resonant
the problem
frequency.
with
right?
little light bikes and light suspension is you when you do it, you need tie downs that have locks like carabiners, not just hooks, because when they compress, then they fall off and then it falls off.
Right.
And nowadays they make them that way. My old chief used to take and run a bungee cord around his real tight. So then if suspension went down, it kept tension on it all the time. Only person I ever saw that did it that way though.
Tio's going to start a third channel now about his desert bike adventure.
We're going to start it when we're at Quartz Fest. We're going to ride all over the desert.
Let's come
Well, I
on.
found out
right?
this one's got front ABS, which is a big help for the problem that I had last time, Chuck.
Just don't follow me. That's the problem you had.
Oh, damn.
Does current lead the wheels or voltage? I don't know. That sounds like voltage leads and current lags on that one.
Leading and lagging, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, so oops, I'm going to not touch it.
I got it.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about remoting your station tonight. And there's a whole lot of ways to do this, and a lot of it depends on what you want to do and what you're going to do with your station remotely. Are you going to do voice? Are you going to do digital? Are you going to do a little of both? Because there's different options for how you do this. And then, what, Chuck?
Oh, I was reading the thing. Iceman.
Oh.
Sorry.
And
know-
a lot of it
Jim's
depends
a
on what
COVID
radio
ham.
you got.
Jim's a COVID hand, but he's been doing this a long time. So I'm impressed. You've been doing
what?
this for you've been remoting your stuff for what, 2 or 3 years now?
Since I got my license.
There you go. Good for you. I've never done it.
He doesn't like to be in front of a radio almost as much as he doesn't like to talk to people.
Yeah. That's why I like
Turns me
FT8. I don't have to hear about people's gout problems and their other random crap.
I just move on. Move on.
So depends on your radio. That's the first thing. And there was some chat before the show started. I think it was Dan was talking about it. He's using a 7300. So you either have a radio that has a network connection or you don't. And that's your first stopping point. So then it just depends on software on a local PC to get your radio working. Now, some radios come with network connections and some don't. Some you can add on, like all the Yaesu radios that I'm aware of and Chuck, you may know, but I don't think any of them come with a network connection.
I haven't seen it.
Not
They
even
have
on
a
the
box that
710.
you buy.
The HRI
right?
200 thing.
Well, the
you can
HRI
look into that.
is for
Digital.
Wires
Well,
X. Yeah,
Or the SCU
Well,
LAN 10.
yeah, that's
Thump,
it.
Thump does his. Thump does
With the
his.
SCU LAN 10.
Yeah, you got to buy an extra box. Now, I don't know
Yeah,
about
Thump's
the
got the
101.
101.
Well, I don't know that you have to, do you? Because
No,
don't you
you
use
don't.
Ham Radio Deluxe or something and do it that way too?
There's- Yeah, we're going
You're
to
gonna
get to
talk
that.
about that,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah. You don't have to do. You don't have to have
SQ-lanio.
LAN. The point I was making is like the
easier.
ICOMs, the 7610, the 705, the 9700. I assume the 7760. I'm almost positive have network built in. The 7300 does not, but there are now ways to get around, and there was always been ways to get around that.
Well,
And
the
then
problem is that you don't have the bandwidth that you want over the USB connector on the 7300, right?
Right, for doing a good pan adapter display, yeah.
And so is there a way around that now?
Okay.
I don't think there
Yeah,
is.
yeah, kind of. So, but it's makes it harder to remote all of it. If you like on the 7300, you can get the pan adapter board, the PTR 7300,
Mhm.
and then that gives you an IQ on the 7300, and you can run that out to an SDR, so you can have a pan adapter using your SDR dongle.
My 3000 will do that from the factory.
So will the 7610. The 7300 though doesn't do that. It's an add-on board.
Right.
It's a third-party board. It's not Icon.
It's what what is it? Something out in the back. I forget.
It's IQ out.
IQ, Chuck.
IQ
Yeah. So like the
First
7610 has a built-in IQ, so
or
you can
IF
actually
is like.
run an SDR straight from it on day one. But
Well,
the
like you have to-
Yaesu's- go
You
ahead.
could take that IQ signal and send it to a SDR
Yep.
machine, right? That would decode that, and then you could use the SDR client server software to do it.
Yep.
To look at it remotely, but that sounds pretty kludgy, though, right?
It's a lot more complicated than setting up some other ways. If you're going to do digital, so we have network radios, we have non-network radios. Then the next thing you got to figure out is, are you going to remote directly into the radio? That's only going to work if you have a network radio, a networked radio, or you're going to remote into a PC. And when I say PC, Raspberry Pi, Mac, Windows, it doesn't matter. They all will work.
Right.
That's what I used to
Mine's
use
the
for my
best. Shut 'em
7300.
down.
You did a Pi. That's a Pi, ain't it?
It is, and then I
Yeah.
would just use TNC
Yep.
to remote control this. But that's not really remote control my radio. That's
VNC.
doing
He's been watching too much Nuggets.
Yeah, he has apparently.
what I say TNC. Yeah, it's
He said
VNC.
Yeah.
TNC.
Um,
I was like, God damn it, another TNC, Steve. We got another one.
but that I wouldn't call that really remote controlling because I can do FT8, right? But it's not like I could control any of the interface on the radio.
Right. And
Could you hit the tune button?
not with WSJTX directly, So, and there's solutions for that. And we're gonna hit those. But like what Ape's talking about is pretty much what I did from the get-go with the 7300 is I remoted into my PC, and there's 100 ways to do that. So I would do it from work frequently.
This one natively supports remote control.
Yep. Does that have VNC built in or something?
No, it's got a LAN port on it.
Oh, so it's got a network app
Biggest
like the
fan
Flex
in a ham
does.
radio.
100%. It's
So-
exactly
so the
it's exactly
Hermes-
like a
the-
Flex.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
Hermes should do it then, right? Easily. That's probably the easiest radio I had to do it with.
Yeah, it's almost exactly like the Hermes.
Wouldn't the EGAT, does the EGAT have a network connection, Chuck?
It might too. I have to pull it down and look though. I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm actually I'm gonna revisit that radio. I think, but I'll grab it while you guys are talking.
We heard so much about it, and then you played with it for a month, and then it disappeared, and we don't
just
talk
got-
about it anymore.
It's the QRP thing, man. Sorry.
Okay. So, if you don't have a networkable radio, you're going to have to go through a PC locally on your home network, and then it gets into a way to turn the radio on, which is fairly easy. But when I started to do
Oh, let
it,
me take
and
that
thank
price
you,
tag off.
Hollywood. Hollywood nailed the next question. I was going to talk about that. Perfect timing. Thank you. I'll send you your check right after the show. So the control operator requirements, I need to be able to turn off my station if it's causing interference. And when I started doing it, yep, is that a network connection, Chuck?
Mm-hmm.
Looks
I'm gonna
like
make sure I'm on the big screen. Hold on here.
put it big in him. No, that's a mic.
Is that the EGAD?
It is.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
ain't
it's
got
a
no
Mike
network
PTT
connection.
on the back.
Yep.
And 3 USB
Hold that up
ports.
there again, Chuck. I didn't get. Hold that. I need to get a gander at it.
Chuck, let him gander. USB host, and that's a mic switch. Mic port.
RF out, RF in, ground.
I thought that had a network connection.
It's got like
Maybe
3 USB A's up on that thing. Let's see the front side. Let's see the front end.
Yeah, you need to get a USB hub for that thing.
Yeah. Its very own. Too bad it's not red.
I know.
They didn't have the red one when you bought it.
I bought this one used.
They got
But
that
if you
weird
could
teal
do,
color,
if you
too.
could do, if you could do a remote, I also have this part for it too.
Yeah, that's nice.
What does that do? Is that like a
It
control
controls
head?
it.
Yeah. So when I set mine up originally, my first radio was a 7300, and what I did is I put the power supply on a smart switch that I could control remotely with my phone or through the Amazon device.
Mm-hmm.
And that turned the power supply on. And then somebody else just mentioned it on the 7300 and a lot of other radios. If you have the right software through the USB cable, you can make the radio come on. And I originally used Ham Radio Deluxe, which will turn on and turn off a ton of rigs over the serial or USB ports, either one, either a real serial port or a USB port. So that's how I remoted the radio. Even though the 7300 is not a network radio, I would remote into my PC here, which was connected to the radio, and then Ham Radio Deluxe would turn the radio on after I'd cut on the power supply. And then that let me cut the whole thing off if I needed to cut it off. And Jim, exactly right. When I started, there was no WF View, or Win for ICOM will also do it, and I think FL Rig will do it as well. So
There's
they
a win
will.
for Yaesu too, right?
Yeah, there is. There is Win for Yaesu. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So
about
now
Penguin.
there's 3 or 4 programs that will do it. I believe SDR control would turn on and off the other radios as well.
Can I
The
interject
90s
one thing?
The network one.
These are on sale now. I don't know if DX Engineering took over these or what, but they're selling them now. And
The
I thought the
EGAD?
company quit making them. Yeah, I thought the company
Not
quit
on
making
sale
them.
as in low price, on sale as in purchasable.
They're purchables. Yeah, just regular.
So
price.
that would be for sale, not on sale.
for sale. They're for sale.
Making,
Yes.
making
Okay.
sure. Because I was going to run out and get one until I understood what you were saying.
Yeah.
Or you just have to wait for the Christmas holiday.
So I don't
I'll,
know
I'll
if
do
they
a
bought
stream.
the rights
I'll
to
do a
them or
stream
what.
on the sales.
That's weird because
See what you did there. Now, Christopher, are you saying it has a transmit
do that,
timeout if you lose LAN? You mean some app does? Because the 7300 doesn't have a LAN connection. Again, if you lose USB maybe or something?
The RSPA one software.
Whatever
might be to
remote
lose the
control
LAN
protocol you're using.
Yeah. So the next issue, and this is where it gets complicated, and Chuck did mention it, Win for Yaesu will do the remote control, so will Ham Radio Deluxe. And I don't know of any other programs. I'm sure there may be some. I don't have any Yaesus I'm remoting currently. Okay. If cat triggers for more than 5 minutes, it'll go back into receive. Yeah, okay, cool. So you got to be able to handle that as the control operators, be able to stop your station at some point. And that's why I liked, with Ham Radio Deluxe, I could turn off the radio, but with the Amazon device, I could turn off the power. And if I'm playing FT8 while I'm at work and a storm comes up or something, I can just cut the power off and the whole thing's disconnected. So pretty cool. But once you get to figuring out what you're going to control your radio with, then you got to figure out how you're going to get to it. And that's where things get a little more complicated. And there's a lot of options, and none of them are inherently better than the other, I don't think. I know what I do, but there's tons of ways to slice and dice this. So we were talking about this on my the FEP Labs private Zoom call last night.
How do you get in on that?
You have to click. Well, it's not in this channel, but you got to join my channel, be a member of my channel, or you can join this channel, which will get you membership to Coffee and Ham Radios, where we all hang out once a month and have a clatch, coffee clatch, beer clatch, Diet Dr. Pepper clatch.
Clutch.
Pick.
And a
Clutch.
clutch.
I thought he was
Clatch.
talking about clutch. Yeah.
Clatch, not clutch.
Listen,
There's
hold
no
on.
clutching.
I'm sorry. I've got to interrupt the show real quick.
Uh-oh.
And now, expert testimony from our comments section. And it looks like our friend Don is saying that there are devices for power off, Jim.
Oh my God.
So
I think
thank you,
Jim
Don.
said that.
Almost
Like,
missed that.
I don't know, 10 minutes ago, maybe. And
Well-
like the software, there's a whole bunch of ways to slice and dice that as well. So I think the best thing I added to my setup is, and I bought it from Paradan at the Dayton Ham Fest a couple years ago, was that antenna disconnect. So when the power goes off, that thing kicks in and the antenna is also disconnected besides the radio being off. It's an extra little piece of safety gear. But there's a whole lot of ways you can do that. I'm using Amazon compatible smart switches. You could use Google. You could use Zigbee or X10 or whatever the home assistant. There's 100 ways to do that with a smart switch. So you get to the software. How do you get to your PC? And this is what we were talking about last night on my Zoom call. David, please stand by.
The easiest is to take your ass over and sit in a chair in front of your radio. That's the easiest.
That's probably the easiest. I use a product called Remote PC. So it's a client that runs on whatever PCs I have it on, John. And it allows me to remote into the PC. It gives me file transfer, full screen, multiple monitors, all of that. Interesting. T.O., I did not turn on ultra low latency.
I did not turn it on either. I made sure that's normal.
Yeah. Yeah, I meant to tell you that. Don't change it. I want to see what it does. I want to see after the stream's over too. Same page. So that's right. That's right, buddy. I can't make my hands do that. Okay, there we go. Anyway, so I use Remote PC. So I have it loaded here at home on a computer. It works on Mac, Linux, Windows. It'll run on a Raspberry Pi. And I remote into the PC, and then it's like I'm sitting at my desk. And with that app, it's easy to fire up FT8 and do FT8. You can also do voice that way. It does work. It's a little delayed to do voice because
You
the
don't
voice
notice it
actually has
unless
to
you're
come
sitting
back
in the
to
room.
you. Yeah, I mean you're not going to hear it. It might be a little delayed between the time you say something and the key up. I don't know. I've not done it a whole
So
bunch.
if you're going to break that pile up, you start early. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I feel like if
there's
I'm
a
doing
delay,
FT8
but you don't notice it if you're not
Right.
in the same room with the radio.
So just call before they finish saying QRZ.
Right.
Yeah. Like
Right.
most
Before they
people do
start.
anyhow.
Well, when you hear the guy going CQQRP, you just talk right over top of him. 'Cause they won't.
QRP.
Right.
Is the frequency in use? Yeah, there's a QRP station
Somebody-
in use. The frequency in use. I don't hear anything.
Somebody created a QRP channel on Toads.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Now, was that a recommendation or
It was a
did somebody
request.
request?
It was a request, and I
request.
named the channel CQQRP 3 times because no one's
I
going to
saw.
hear him anyway.
So I was like, wait a minute. It's like an infection. They just start spreading.
Oh, they want to go in there. At least they won't bother the rest of us by saying QRP over and over. It was my logic. So the difference where this gets in a lot of mess back and forth, if you're doing something like FT8, I'm remoted into this PC. However, I've got my radio connected and WSJTX are all running on this PC here. I'm just viewing the screen. The PC is this PC is talking to the radio. I'm at work on a different computer just watching this screen here doing its thing. So there's no lag. Now, if you add the voice in that way, that's where you might notice
Yeah.
the lag, and it would work, but there's better ways to do that too. With something like WFView, SDR Control, which is only Mac and ICOM, Win for Yaesu, Win for ICOM, any of those, you can also use those over the network, but that's kind of a different setup. And there's the thing about this, guys, is there's like 100 ways to do this. You can use something like Remote PC, and somebody mentioned VNC. VNC is a great choice as well. T.O., is there a pay version of that they're pushing now?
There is
bet-
real VNC
that's
you pay
better?
for. The reason why it's better, quote unquote, it's still VNC, but the reason why it's better is you make the connection to the cloud, and then your computer that you're trying to remote control makes a connection to the cloud. So you don't have to
Right.
open up DNS ports or port forwarding or firewall
Right.
rules, or you just do it. So it's like it's worth the $5 a month or whatever the price is.
Yeah. And that's the same kind of deal that Remote PC does. Your client here on your local computer, your home computer, let's say, it connects to the cloud, and you connect to the cloud from your computer remotely at work, wherever you're at, and then it does the same kind of deal as Real VNC. Brian Hendricks gifted 5 car memberships. Who got
Oh,
those?
cool, Brian.
Let's see if I can find them. Did you get them, mate?
I got him. William WM9H got one. 3D Havoc
Nice.
got one. Billy Rogers got one. Simon R got one. And Don's Locks, all the way from Australia, got one.
Don's a good guy. He's a regular.
He's a regular something. I don't know what, but he is.
He's
Is
kind
it
of
irregular
he's
or
kind of-
regular?
He's kind of saucy in the comments occasionally too. He's pretty funny.
Uh-oh.
He's an Aussie.
And then old Steve, KO4
Hey, Steve.
AFL.
See, Steve, I was just not even going to bring that up because it's just,
So
We
he
take
sold
that
his
back.
76. He sold the 7610 and got a Flex. Is that the story that I'm
I
hearing?
guess since he's pimping Flex right now.
I was going to bring it up for you, Jim. 'Cause
Okay.
I know a bunch of people that do the remote stuff, and I was told that, and they have the Anons, they have Hermes and Flex, and the guy that has like all of those, he says the Flex is by far the easiest to set up for that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, and actually one of the easiest ones to set up, because the Hermes and the Anon take a little bit of work to get them set up.
You know what? I'm just going to say BS on that, because if
You're wrong.
that was true, why would there be so many videos with all these Flex owners talking about how they have to set them up and all the grief that they go through? They have a support group, meatloaf dinner at the Hamvention. I mean, it's
Yeah, but that cost him how much? $50.
right,
that was a
right,
fif-
I don't.
That was a
I don't buy it.
$50 meatloaf.
$50 piece of meatloaf. It was in 2.5
Meatloaf.
hours
We
of
used to
my
call it
ass getting a hemorrhoid sitting there.
That's right. I'm calling a penalty on that one.
We call those asteroids.
You never
That's
hear
right.
anybody, or the only people saying that are people who plink down $4,000 for their Flex.
So
they want you to join the club.
Well, this guy had all of them. It wasn't like he just had a Flex. He had the Anon, which is what he was using. He was using his Anon, but tell me how much easier the Flex was to hook up for most people.
Right.
Not his radio
with
choice.
something like the Flex, it's designed to work over the network.
Right.
Period.
So it makes it easier to start with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What about
already
that
there.
hat you
It's
never
halfway
got in the
there.
mail?
And I know, right? Well, Don
I
hooked me
know.
up with a hat.
Yeah, Don gave him a hat.
I didn't get one
Don,
from Flex. Michael Walker.
But Don wore that hat for like 2 years before he sent it
I-
to you, man. I'm just
I
telling
just
you.
wore it once in the video, and then I set it aside. I didn't want to offend Don. I wanted him to see me wear it, and then I put it.
Tim's a hat person for sure.
Not
Mm-hmm.
a hat person. So, with something like the Flex or any of the network radios, you can go.
No,
Really,
you're supposed to
Scott?
say, I have a Flex. Don't forget to say you have
I
a
wasn't
Flex.
going to even say it. So,
I have a Flex.
with something
I
like
don't.
any of those, you can connect directly over the internet, but you need to use a VPN. And somebody mentioned Tailscale, which I think is VPN software. I don't use it. I'm using TwinGate. That's another way to connect remotely. A lot of home routers have VPN endpoint built in them. Usually something like WireGuard or OpenVPN. So that's another way that you can set up a connection from a remote computer back to your shack and do it that way. And all of this stuff just kind of depends on how you can talk to your radio, what you want to do when you connect to the radio. And Are you doing voice? You doing digital? Whatever. So like with the Flex software, voice on it works great. FT8 remotely, it's okay.
Shooter's been paying attention.
It's
Please copy Flex.
there's a little bit of network latency that kind of screws with FT8 sometimes. It just depends. And Mike Walker at Flex, and this would go for any of the network remote radios, not just the Flex, but Mike says he doesn't even do that. He doesn't connect to the Flex directly over the internet. He connects to a PC locally and then has it connect to the Flex so he does not have the internet latency problem.
That makes
So-
sense.
Yeah,
So
and
you're
that's how
you're just pulling the presentation
I
layer
might just start-
across the wire,
yes,
right?
exactly right. Exactly right. I'm just looking at the screen. This PC here is running Smart SDR and all the other crap locally on my LAN to the radio, which is the way Mike said he does it, and it's what he's told people he recommends because it works better.
I
You don't-
studied the OSI model about 25 years ago.
40 years ago, I sat through a week-long Air Force class by some second lieutenant. It was so boring.
So we hire people. This is uncool with me. And they come in and they interview. And I always say, okay, it's going to be a simple interview. Let's talk. Explain the OSI model. And then a lot of times it's just silence.
No.
I'm like, all right, well, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Have a
Adios.
safe, have a safe
Amigo.
ride.
Explain it or list the levels.
Yeah.
In
I
order.
got interviewed
I
one
can
time
explain it.
for an IT job at a small company.
Oops.
And the guy interviewing me was the computer guy there, but they wanted to hire a full-time guy. So he's interviewing me, and he's asking me some entry-level techie questions, right? Entry-level stuff. It's okay, and I answered all of them. And at the end of it, he said, I would like you to ask me a question that you think I don't know the answer. So
What
I
color
actually,
underwear am I wearing?
I actually asked him, what's layer 3 of the OSI model? And if that's... I already decided I wasn't going to take the job. I was pulling a TO before I even knew TO. Fuck these guys.
Right.
F these guys. And then I said, and if you can't answer that one, then what port is RDP on, and is it TCP or UDP? Obviously, I didn't take the job or get the job, but he just sat there like a deer in the headlights. No, not doing this. But so the thing is, there's just a whole bunch of ways to do it. And again, it depends on what you're trying to do. I find the remote access of my PC is the easiest way. Because like Steve mentioned, VNC, which is a great solution. Remote PC, a great solution. You could use TeamViewer, although they get a little pissy if they think you're using it for commercial. It's free for personal, but then they decide randomly that you're a commercial user. I have no idea how they decide that. And then they'll never let you use it for free again. I used to use TeamViewer. I used it for years until they decided I was a commercial user. So
Listen, I don't know if the Clubhouse guy is clowning on the Clubhouse, or if the Clubhouse guy is clowning on us, or if the Clubhouse guy is clowning on Jim. I'm just going to choose clowning on Jim because it's probably the safest one. But
Wow.
Maybe he's clowning on the Clubhouse. I don't know.
oh, because I dropped the F-bomb.
I guess
It's
I don't
hanging
know.
around you people. I mean, you know,
That's right, you people.
you people. Anyway, so that's kind of it. I don't want this to be Network 101 class because that'll take forever. Have we got any questions that anybody's popped up that we want to talk
While
about?
we're waiting for the questions to come in there, but see, that's the thing is that on like all of the subgroups for these different radios, like Sun and Hermes Light, it's all people who don't understand networking.
Yep.
They're like, I got a virus on my IP address. There's a virus on it. I can't connect. You know, and it's just it's the same over and over and over
Right.
about how do they connect.
Right.
And I mean, some of them it's a little bit complicated, right? Like when I set up the Hermes Light, it wasn't too bad.
But you
same
do
thing with
this.
Yep. Same thing with the Sun. Like it's more complicated than buying a 7300 plug-in in your G5 RV and going to town on it, right?
Right. No, why would you buy a G5 RV? You'd buy a Poseidon.
Well, the G5 RV is cheap. That's why everybody buys them as their first antenna. They're like, I get all the bands cheap.
At 5 feet off the ground.
Plus the tuner. Still cheap.
Don mentioned Chrome Remote Desktop. Yes, that will work. That requires VPN access or port forwarding.
I thought people hated Chrome Remote Desktop though.
I thought it sucked.
I've never used it, but
I used it for like a couple days and said this sucks. If you're on Windows, actually, if you're on other platforms besides Windows, RDP, Microsoft's Remote Desktop Protocol,
right.
will work from or to Linux, will work to or from Mac, and will work to or from Windows, obviously. But like Chrome Remote Desktop, VPN and or port forwarding to get from outside to inside your network. And port forwarding is probably the scariest thing, I think, for most people who don't do this stuff and understanding what to forward and what not. And honestly, technically, every time you open ports on your router and let stuff inside, it's a security risk. But, you know, if the radio's turned off and the port forward goes to the turned off ass radio, okay. You know, so.
Thank you,
You say that.
somebody else say that.
Cogmish?
Say it twice, man.
Merry
I'm not
Christmas
saying
to
it
you.
twice, Chuck. It might be a bad word.
Cogmitch.
It might call Beetlejuice.
Right.
And of course, Don, we know you're not logging into Windows, so just calm down. You can almost all these solutions work on any of the three major OS.
It sounds to me like Don was saying that he was logging into Windows.
Well, he just said something about he has a Maestro RDP. Oh, that was
I don't
somebody.
know what he's saying.
A Maestro.
Yeah, that's
He does
a
have a
Windows
Maestro,
machine.
doesn't he?
Oh no,
Does
that
he
was
have a-
William. Don did have a Maestro. I don't know if he's still using it.
He probably
his
put
Flex?
Arch Linux on there.
Probably. And there's other options that get even jazzier. So with the Flex, for example, you can buy the Maestro remote control head, which is Wi-Fi or wired, and you can sit at your desk at your vacation house with that on your Wi-Fi and talk over the internet to your Flex at your house and actually have knobs to twiddle. That's a little bougie for me, but you can do it.
He says he uses his Maestro, but does that work with your Crapache Labs radio?
I bet you somebody can make it work with it.
There may be one. I don't know. You could probably do. I don't know. I don't have that radio. I need to buy one. No,
They do have some pretty nice radios, but
no,
I
I don't need to buy one.
I'm talking myself out of it. I'm on a stream, damn it, and I want to buy something. No.
Well, that one Apache, I say Crapache to make him mad, but the one Apache Labs radio's got like a sweet spectrum analyzer built into it, which would be pretty fun.
So you don't
They've
have
got
the
one with
Apache.
a big amp built into it now too.
I don't have an Apache.
That one you have, that's the Sun.
We can't
SDR.
afford an Apache.
Yeah, mine's a Sun.
Sun, yeah. So there's a whole lot of options. Honestly, in my opinion, the biggest hurdle that you need to handle first is being able to turn your radio on and off remotely.
Most important.
And that's just to keep things from getting sideways if you ain't there. I mean, I work 30 miles from where I live, so me running to the house is kind of a deal. It's an hour round trip. So I really, really, really want to be able to
While your
turn crap
finals are
off.
burning. Yeah.
Right.
So
While
it'll
something is
take you 30
smoking.
minutes to find your car keys, get your phone, get out to the car, get in the car, drive.
There's that. So again, that's why I want to be able to kill everything from
Can't say that. Can't say
remotely. I want to kill the connection. YouTube, I apologize. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is having a solid system to turn it off and making sure you can turn your radio on. Some radios, and I've seen this with the ICOM 706, and I've seen that with this Kenwood back here, which is, can't see, but it's right back there.
You know what another great way to remote control your radio is, Jim?
What's that?
Having
your
a
wife
nice
and tell
fresh
her to
cup
turn
of
a knob?
coffee while
Hell
you're
yeah.
trying to remote control your radio. And Coffee and Ham Radios at hamradios.coffee sells 3 different varieties of coffee that you
I need
can
to get back
a
on the
monthly
plan, too.
subscription. We have the Private Reserve, which is good for an extra 6 dB.
Hold that back up. I'm going to embiggen you, son.
Look at that.
Begin you.
Good for an extra 6 dB. Look at that.
That is excellent coffee.
The Private Reserve, and this is a Mexican Chiapas blend, in case y'all are coffee snobs and know what that means. This
I
one
don't
here
know
is the
what that
Morning
means.
Net, which is a regular breakfast blend, because I know people know what breakfast blend is. And then for you snooty pinkies out types, we have the French Roast, the QRO High Test. Ain't no QRP out here for these folks.
That's right.
That's
So
right.
T.O.,
At
do we
hamradios.coffee.
we don't sell QRP coffee.
Oh,
No.
no.
That's at
That would be
Starbucks.
Just get an
Decaf.
empty bag.
That's a frappuccino
decaf.
from Starbucks. That's decaf.
Well-
yeah.
You have to say that's your QRP when you call for it.
Right.
And then in case y'all didn't
QRP,
know, we sell
QRP.
antennas too. And this is another thing
Oh,
you
look
need
at
for remote
those.
controlling your radio is an antenna.
And you could be drinking coffee out of that Coffee and Ham Radio's
Tumbler.
Beautiful
What do we got?
green-
Like 6 of those left now?
travel mug. Less than 20. I don't know. I'd have to go open the box or log in the
4 or
website right
5.
now.
4 or 5. Full legal
Hmm.
limit is QRO, son. Thank you, Frank.
We don't have sticker packs, and I'm not sure why they're showing up. We're
We
out
don't
of
have
sticker
antenna
packs.
parts kits either.
No.
Is that
I think
showing
I
up?
That
I don't
was
see
an
it.
argument today.
Yeah, it's
Hmm?
not showing up. I'm not sure why the sticker packs are, because as far as I know, it's 0 on there. I'll have to look at that after the show.
Well, it says so.
No, we're
it
not
says
competing
sold
with
out.
Vern. We're not
Yeah, I don't-
competing with Vern at all. Look,
We're selling for Vern.
it says QRO High Test on the front, and it says Vern on the back. Vern's a bro, man. We don't do that.
Frank, I can't believe you actually posted
Who
that
said
in
that
a
to
ham radio video. Frank.
What is he
dissed-
saying? Don't you disrespect the frap?
Yeah. Frank.
Listen, I think that spending $6 on a cup of coffee is insanely idiotic, but that's just me.
But it's a 1,000-calorie cup of coffee, Ape.
Yeah. No,
I
you know
take
what
it
bothers
back.
me even more is the little twits that work there won't take your order if you say small, medium, or large. You have to say venti, grandi, or supremo, or whatever the hell it is.
Like, I want the
Italian.
I
Grandy.
just say no.
Yeah.
They got a new.
I think it's
They
nuts.
got a new head guy now, though. It's going to change everything.
At Starbucks?
Yep, new guy. They just hired a new guy.
We're going to unburn the coffee.
Yeah.
They're going to
That
change
would be a
everything.
start. That would be a start. What is so since we're kind of off topic and apparently vamping here for the next 18 minutes, what is the projected ETA of the Kronos, do you guys think?
Oh,
We'll say
we don't even
January
have
15th.
Parts until end of the year because of the Christmas shipping rush and the Canadian strike.
The Canadians are up there starting trouble
It's their
again.
fault. Yep,
Right.
It's their fault.
And I heard they're starting some more trouble because the Trump is trying to negotiate some
The
tariff
Trump.
stuff.
Trump.
And they're getting all worked up on that.
I mean, we just need to make it the 51st state and move on. I mean, they're just in denial. We should have done it in 1812
He should pull a Putin and just start
and invade Canada.
right. Just start.
Wait a
Shoot,
minute. I
son,
thought that
we
was
get
going to
to-
be over.
We
I
could
thought
get
that
the
was going to
Michigan.
be over
we
right
get
as soon
the
as he got
Michigan
elected.
National Guard to take
Oh,
care
that's
of
right, it didn't
Canada. We
happen.
don't even need the whole army. John,
Oh,
the
David, we're not doing
Kronos-
politics. We're just joking.
We're just talking about Canada.
Right. It's not politics. The Kronos is going to be.
The Kronos
our-
is close. I don't have all the
John's
parts yet.
got to be leg pulling right there.
I think he knows this. I don't.
John
Somebody
Moore.
else in the chat may not. The Kronos is going to be our. What are we saying? 200 watts sideband and 100 digital
Sure.
for the Kronos
Sure.
is our plan.
Unless Frank's using it.
Frank is prohibited. We're just going to ban him from using.
Well, I mean, the thing is that we talked about sending some new parts over to Frank, but I vetoed it. I said, "Look, he's just going to mess
gonna
that
do it
up
again.
too."
Hey, we just can't have nice things. I mean, that's
Right.
it's like your mom said. You just can't have nice things, Frank. So we think middle
Don,
of January.
Don, it's a home version of the Poseidon,
Well,
which is
it's-
outdoors. All of our antennas are outdoor antennas, Don. Come on. You got to come with something better than that. Just saying. So
got a
I don't
point.
have all the parts yet. Because
Make
At the-
kits.
December
the problem is
27th
as I make the
last
kit,
piece
I
of
find out how many parts that I need.
And
or
then
what
we
parts
sell
I
some
need.
parts
Some
out
more
from
today.
underneath Chuck because somebody wanted to buy extra wire because they burned up some stuff.
I'm
Yeah,
good
Frank.
on wire and stuff right now. Yeah, Frank, yours is in the mail.
So he's saying he really doesn't know. It's essentially a high power Rybakov.
Yeah.
I don't have the parts here today. We showed the difference.
Ooh,
the
I
other
like
day.
that Doc Brad.
Doc.
The
Doc
Appuccino with Miller Lite
There
foam.
you go. There you go. That's something I could get behind.
Of course you could.
Frank, 40 meters is legal on the Poseidon or the Kronos.
Nothing below
Yeah.
40,
Nothing below 40, Frank.
which is where you were dwelling there.
Especially
Right.
Frank was a bottom dweller. Shocker.
Cellar dweller.
I have to hand it to him because I was never able to get it to tune on 160. I don't know how he did that.
He's got that G90.
Got a manual tuner.
He's a 710 guy, man, and that 710 will do most. But
I hope to hell he had a
That's
choke
better
on that
done.
thing too, especially at 80.
he didn't.
And
He didn't in the
160.
picture yesterday or today.
The Ununs are all different size wire. He's talking about the mag wire on the Unun because he ain't talking about the element wire.
Yeah, the Apollo is 16 gauge. The Ares is 18
Everything else is
gauge. And then the Mercury is 22 gauge. And then the Poseidon is 18.
Whoa!
I'm detecting something wrong here.
I'm trying to remember.
The antenna
the-
wire
let me-
or
let
the
me-
magnet wire?
Well, he's saying the
Mag-
Unun wire. So I'm being pedantic on purpose. I'm just giving
It's
him. giving him
18
the
on
beans.
everything except the Apollo. I mean, yeah, it's 16 on the Apollo, 18
gauge
on everything
magnet
else.
wire.
Yeah.
It's some of it's not magnet wire, some of it's
Solid
on
core
the,
copper.
The Aries. The Aries is solid
Yeah,
core copper
Aries is
with
solid core.
whatever the coating is. We had to go with we had to find that one's tough because it's such a small toroid that 3 wires around it with insulation makes it tough. So
It's tight fit.
we got the one that's the
We
thinnest
actually have
insulation we could
double
get.
check. We have to double check the thickness of the
We
wire
did.
every time we order. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's the jacket, right? So
The
it's like-
jacket.
Yeah,
Not the wire,
insulation,
yeah.
Yep. The wire is always the
'Cause we
same
bought
size
some.
inside.
We bought some one time and I go, this ain't gonna work, guys. Because it was
And
like
it's
twice as
always
thick.
one color that's out.
Yeah, we have more problems with that antenna wire than anything.
Oh, Ron's gonna burn up his Poseidon too, running it on that non-recommended band.
Be careful
Yeah.
on 80.
Well, it's probably 80 on FT8 that's killing it. 'Cause That's,
Yes.
that's, what,
Yeah.
that's, what,
It-
that's what Ape was doing.
Yep. What power were you running, Ape, when you melted yours?
I wouldn't say 100 watts because the thing is that we were testing for 100
That was
watts.
when we were doing the power. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't run 100 usually. He only runs
But the
90.
thing is that I never noticed that it was a problem, right? And so I went outside the next day and I was doing something out in the yard and I just happened to look at the antenna and the toroid had like that orange tint to it. And I'm thinking in my mind, the powdered iron or whatever is rusting. Like I thought it was a rust issue. And then when I looked at it, I saw the plastic was melted. I was like, oh, damn.
But now, have you still used that? You just redid the plastic, or did you chuck it?
No, I took it. I used it after it was toasted. It worked fine, but then I rebuilt the antenna.
It didn't hurt the winder, though, right?
Little bit,
Nope, that-
little bit melting on it, but not much.
Don
But I mean, I
wants
was
us to use
definitely-
DX10.
I was definitely stress testing it.
DX10's too heavy for a portable antenna.
Yeah, done.
Now, for the Kronos, it probably wouldn't be a
One of our
bad thing if you're going to do it at home.
DX10 on. It's
Yeah.
big. It's
I-
bulky.
You know, that means that Chuck would have to measure out wire again.
We got away from that.
That's right. You
I
remember them
can throw
days,
stuff
Chuck?
together so fast now.
Yep.
So that's the DX10 next to our wire.
Yeah.
So
And that looks like
that's why we don't use
coax
the
next to
DX10.
ours, T.O.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the DX10 is good wire. We're not complaining about that, but it's not in spec.
Now, if you wanted to upgrade not upgrade, but if you wanted to do your Kronos at home with DX10, that would be fine.
Yeah.
We're not going to offer it, but because what is that?
Here's the
14?
thing,
Is that
Anybody
14
on
gauge?
80 meters.
It's a 40 through 6, right? The antenna's designed for 40 through 6.
Try it at your own risk, and it'll be okay, but out of spec.
And what we're saying here, Frank, is if you burn it up because you're using it on 80 at 100 watts on FT8
Or 160.
or 160, Jesus Christ.
Or 60 meters.
We don't know you. We never heard of you.
Frank, who?
Go away. We're not going to send you another Toroid because you burnt one up. We love you, but we don't love you that much.
Right.
And that being said, yes, Ape and I we've both done 80 meter FT8 or 60 meter FT8 on it.
But
also,
we know the manufacturer, so we have it.
You just have to be responsible when you do
I got
it.
an in with a guy. He's in Nebraska, but I got an in
Unlimited
with a
parts
guy.
supply.
If you're talking to a guy on a sideband late at night and just not really hammering down 100 watts,
If
you're
you're
probably
feeling lonely
good.
and you get on 80 at night, start talking
You're
to some
probably good on sideband.
stranger in the wind, in the darkness.
Sharing about the feelings you have for your proctologist when you got your colonoscopy.
I'm not going to worry about because I've got like another 50 of them in the room there, so
Right.
I'm not too.
I had to remake my appointment to get my prostate checked.
Oh, bless you.
And so I was talking to the people, and they're like, "Sir, are you okay if it's a female doctor?" I was like, "Is she cute?"
I prefer it.
Normally, I have to pay extra for that, so yeah, I'm good with that. I don't have to go down to the west side to get that done. Cool.
You guys, no, never mind.
She got all her teeth. Oh my God. Okay. That's a very good. Tio, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, we got 3 slots left. We need 50 to get the group buy off the ground. We got 47 people who have already signed up. We have
What
a
is
couple
this
people-
thing?
This is the thing that you put on the back of your Android phone that turns your Android
have an
phone into
Android
a
phone.
2-meter radio
Oh,
to do
that
voice and SSB, and it's a $30 buy-in.
Does it have to have service?
The phone, no.
The rate phone? Oh, well, maybe then.
It has to have
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, right?
No, it doesn't have to have Wi-Fi. Well, you have to have some way of loading the app. I mean, you could sneaker net it with a USB port, but
Oh, I
that
can do
might be a little
Wi-Fi.
above Chuck's
I
pay
have-
grade.
I have Wi-Fi and all that stuff on my
Yeah.
Android, but
It does not
But
need
you
to be
don't-
an active phone.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I got this Android here.
And it's a
Now, will it do-
ESP32 with an SA818, and it's a toy. I mean, it's $30. It's a toy project.
Right. It's
fun.
a toy. Is it? Does it do APRS? Because I know 3 or 4 of them are typing that right now.
Yes, it does. It does APRS, and then you can do repeater
Oh, thank
programming
goodness.
right from the app, and you can talk right through the app, and it's powered by the USB-C port on your phone because it's a modern ham radio project made by a ham.
How many watts? How much watt did you get out of that thing?
I want to say it's going to be 1, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that with the USB power, it's not going to get much.
My buddy
Yeah,
Tio
it's-
sent me this Android phone. I could probably talk on this for like a year
Yeah.
with that app.
When you have 30% remaining battery life on that phone, it's another 3 weeks.
It's like a regular phone then.
Does that still have the hammer marks where I beat that nail in?
I can't find any hammer marks on it.
Yeah.
I don't see, I
'Cause
don't
it's
see any
it was
marks
a rugged
anywhere.
phone.
Ryan,
It's QRPP,
It is. It's a burner 2 meter. That's
Right.
exactly
A
right.
burner.
right?
Yeah.
It's your throwdown phone.
Until you put your call sign in.
Right.
Sir, did you know you're not supposed to put your name on the burner phones?
2 more
John's
now.
saying-
Awesome. We got
John's
one
saying
left.
1.5 watts.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow, 1.5.
And then, you put your 6
And
dB
then-
gain antenna on and you drink your,
How do you hook
DVD
Can you hook an antenna to it
coffee.
too?
yeah, SMA connection.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So like your signal stick or
You guys will need to be buying this kit if it ever comes out.
I
Overload
would
the
go
front
ahead
end
and
of that
walk
thing,
around
I'm
with
sure.
that on my phone.
That's it.
If you put that on there, you're going to overload it, I bet.
The signal stick or the thing Chuck's got?
Either.
Either.
You could just do one.
Good thing.
Yeah, somebody was asking me the other day, they were like, hey, when I put on my whatever antenna, Comet, whatever, for their HT, their Baofeng, they're like, when I put it on, I can't hear anything. What do you recommend? Do you think my antenna's bad? I was like, what I would recommend is putting the dummy load antenna back on that came with the radio,
The one that works better.
and then just have at it.
Uh-oh. Does it have HDMI? We don't want it if it doesn't have HDMI.
No,
That's
it's
right.
got USB-C video.
That is even better than HDMI.
So this here is the radio itself.
Oh, wow.
That's
and
the
then it's got a little
818
circuit
chip.
board that goes around. Yeah, that's the 818. And then you need a ESP32, so this is the computer brains and everything. So Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, etc. So there's lots of potential for this, and it's just getting started. I mean, look at this thing. And I just wonder when you solder this thing down, because it's castellated instead of like through hole or surface mount. It's kind of a weird combination.
Is that
Can you ever get it
QFN?
back off?
Quad flat, no mount?
I'm not smart enough to answer that question.
What's that
Well,
solder to? The
hold
other
it
board?
up again. Hold it up again. So do are the contacts on the bottom side of the chip?
They're flush on the bottom, so it's actually a circuit board in and of itself.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I pull the RF shield off of it, you'll see a whole bunch of parts inside.
Do it.
But not right now.
We're gonna do it on nuggets. We're gonna do it on
Might.
here.
We might. I mean, it'd be better with the overhead camera and magnification and everything.
Right.
Yeah. And this is the exact same thing that's on the Shari Pi hat. Don is correct.
Was it the wrong button?
Glenn's wanting to know, is it QRP?
Don's correct.
QRPP.
You said that out loud?
QRPP.
Oh, I like Don. I say Don's correct all the time.
Yeah, Christopher, we're not the ones who designed this. We're just doing a group buy/build on this thing.
Yeah. So I mean, the
That's
question
why-
is, if we go from 1 to 2 watts, does it change the filter characteristics? I don't know if the filter was designed for 2 watts.
Right.
And that's the thing. One of the things that KB4P had a question about.
I mean, I think,
Cool.
and like you said, I think it's a cool little project. And for $30, it's like, look, I made a radio out of my old Android phone or my Walmart burner
we're
phone
done.
I bought or whatever.
All 50
Yeah.
done.
I think
Awesome.
Chris was telling you to get your Shine box though.
I didn't design it. I don't care.
Christopher Andrews is smarter than I am, so
Yes, he
you
is.
know, he can tell me to get my shine box all day long.
Me and Tio didn't design this thing. We're just consumers.
We just
here.
want to have fun.
Yeah,
We're two wild and crazy guys.
that's right.
Right.
So I think
JamScan is correct too.
we about covered everything. There's a lot of ways to do it, and if you guys have specific questions, hit me up in the Discord. There's a link to the Toads Discord down yonder. I think there's one
At
over
the
there
top of
as
the
well,
chat.
past Chuck's head. And
Up there.
we can work it out. We during my Zoom call last night, we were working on figuring out one of the guy's problems with remoting his station. So anyway, I'll be glad to help. I don't mind talking you through it or talking you off the ledge, either way.
More like talking you off a ledge. It's not wasted money if you learn something.
That's right. That's
Oh
right.
yeah, I talk about paying for an education all the time. I mean, this is a $30 toy radio project kit.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the very least, you get $30 worth of education out of it. I mean, you spend more than that at the slot machine down at the local casino.
You get $30 worth of fun out of it. Honestly, I mean, we're hams. It's
Son, it's going to be $30 of
gadgets.
frustration. It's probably
That and it wouldn't be the first time, right? Right. But at least this time I didn't have to buy one of those watered down drinks for $30 worth of frustration. I'm just saying, okay?
He's just saying.
All right, I'm going to hit the button. Guys, thank you for
Thanks,
watching.
everybody.
Appreciate it. Wave bye, Chuck.
Bye, everyone.